Hi everyone, Sif Alchemist here. Today I'm going to talk about the demons of King Solomon himself. It is said that King Solomon was the wisest man that have ever lived. Was he really though? Was he the wisest man that have ever lived? I'm gonna leave that to another episode. But for now, let's consider that he's the wisest man that have ever lived. It is said that King Solomon was given from God all the riches and the treasures of the world. However, one thing that a lot of people forget to mention is that he had to ask God first for these riches, for these treasures. He had to ask first. It wasn't just given to him, he had to ask for it. But for some reason, God gave him these treasures, gave him these riches. It gave him more than any man has ever seen. And not only that, God also gave him this ring, this seal, the seal of Solomon, that allowed him to control demons. If you want to know more about the seal of Solomon, go watch my other video, the Seal of Solomon Mysteries. I elaborate more about the seal of Solomon on that video. But Solomon was particularly known for controlling demons, controlling not just one or two or three demons, a league of demons, all of the demons, again with the help of God. The story of Solomon being able to control demons originated in Hellenistic Jewish circles, and then later on it became widely spread around Judaic, Islamic, and even Christian traditions. In the Quran, as well as the Babylonian Talmud, this idea was also very popular, and it is known specifically that the Jewish and Muslim people believe in the demons of Solomon. But where does this idea come from? Who wrote it first? Where do we find it? The demons of Solomon, their names. If we try to track back and trace the origin of this story, we're going to find that it's mentioned in a text that showed up around the 1st century. Some say between the 1st and 3rd century, and the author of this text is anonymous. No one knows who actually published or released the text publicly, but it is called the Testament of Solomon. But many claim that the Testament of Solomon was written by King Solomon himself. When you start reading the text, you can see that it's a narration done by someone who claims to be King Solomon. So the idea here is that there is no proof that the Testament of Solomon was actually written by Solomon himself, but it is one of the early texts, if not the earliest text, that mention the demons of Solomon. If anything, it only mentions 6 or 7 demons. Beelzebul, and according to the Testament of Solomon, Beelzebul is the king of the demons. Another demon is Asmodeus, and then few other demons. They were from all around the world. The story of the Testament of Solomon begins by Solomon saying that one of his workers, one of the people that worked for Solomon, was bothered, was annoyed by a demon. Solomon tried to fix this because back then apparently the demons and the humans coexisted. It was something normal. Everyone knew they were just like people. They were roaming earth everywhere. So Solomon didn't like this because he liked his workers and he wanted to help them. So he asked God again. This is after God has given him all of the riches, all of the treasures of the world. But this time he asked God to help him with this demon trouble. So God, I think through the Archangel Michael, if I'm correct, sent him a ring or a seal with the hexagram on it. And he told him to use this seal to control not only that demon that was bothering his worker, but all of the demons of the world. And eventually Solomon will do so. He will ask this particular demon to take him to the king of demons, Beelzebul, and he will take him to Beelzebul, and then Solomon will eventually end up controlling all of the demons. And not only he's gonna control them, but he's gonna use them to build his infamous temple. Because these demons had supernatural powers. They could levitate, they could disappear, they could teleport, They could shapeshift. They had powers that humans didn't have, that humans still don't have. It is also mentioned that these demons were from all around the world. Just shortly before the completion of the whole temple, there was this huge cornerstone, there's this rock, this huge cornerstone that even the demons themselves didn't know how to put up. It had to be elevated and just put it in a way that no one knew how to do it. So it is said that they had to go and call on a demon from another area of the world, from another country, and bring him, because he was able to levitate that rock and put it anywhere they wanted to. So this story here tells you that demons inhabit the whole planet. They don't exist just in one area or just in the Israel where King Solomon was. These demons were inhabiting planet Earth everywhere, just like human beings. So this was the book that mentioned the demons of Solomon. No one knew how many demons there were. No one knew exactly the details other than what Solomon wrote in his testament. So fast forward to the 13th century. This is the first time in Europe where demonology is going to emerge. It's going to become more and more popular. Paganism and praying to deities and invoking them and working with demons is going to start spreading around Europe, which leads to the 15th century and the Inquisition and the witch hunt, because at that point it was Christianity taking over Europe. Not to mention that in the 8th century, in the Arab world, many authors, as I shared in my other video, Demon's Origin, many Arab authors show and describe these demons in their books. So one of the other prominent books that's going to appear in the 16th century is Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. It mentions a league of demons, and it says that these are the demons that were working for Solomon. And apparently there's 69 demons mentioned in that book. This book mentions their properties and what they can do and so on and so forth. Another popular book that addresses the demons of Solomon is going to be published in the year 1818, and it's called The Infernal Dictionary. It has the description of the demons of Solomon in a certain hierarchy, what they do, their powers, their names. So around this time in Europe, many people were just copying information about these demons of Solomon and publishing their own books, or they would change the names sometimes. Even the names of the demons sometimes are misused. For example, Baal, Belial, Beelzebub, Beelzebul, and he has other names as well. So it seems like a lot of authors were obsessed with this information, but they were just making their own version and publishing their own version as they pleased. So there is no evidence or proof of the names of these demons, the real names of these demons, and what they can actually do. Other than, in my opinion, the one that resonates the most with me is the Testament of Solomon, the book that appeared in the 1st century. So the Infernal Dictionary that was published in 1818 will have a newer version published in the year 1863. And this is the first version that's going to have illustrations of the demons, of 68 demons with their names. Basically the popular illustrations that you can find online everywhere, the illustrations that are used in the Occult deck that I myself use sometimes. Those illustrations were published in the book Infernal Dictionary 1863, and the artist, the painter that drew those illustrations was the French artist Louis Le Breton. So this artist, Louis Le Breton, gave these demons these appearances in his illustration. And these appearances were kind of grotesque, they were kind of scary, they were kind of just terrifying, they were not friendly. Because the idea that demons are just malicious entities who are supposed to look bad and not good. And from that point in time, we're going to fast forward to the most recent book about the demons of Solomon, which is the most popular book probably that most of you know, that many people know around the world nowadays, which is the Lesser Key of Solomon, also known as the Lemegeton. It was published in the 17th century, and it lists 72 demons this time, not 68. And in the Lesser Key of Solomon, for the first time, we see the sigils of the demons. It is also unknown who published it. Again, we have these sources that are mysterious and people don't want to reveal who wrote or who published these things, maybe because they were scared of their religion or of punishment that they can get back in those times, and maybe that's why they kept their names secret. The Lesser Key of Solomon is divided into 5 books. The most famous one is the Ars Goetia, that has the names of the demons, 72 demons, and apparently the book took the illustrations from the Infernal Dictionary, but this is the first time where we see the sigils of each of the 72 demons. So this is all good, but what about the word demon? What's the origin of the word demon? Demon derives from the Greek word daemon. Let me tell you this. The first monotheistic religion in the world, Judaism, was the first religion that divided the daemons into 2 categories: the angels, the good ones, and the demons, the bad ones. Prior to Judaism, around the world, it was mainly paganism that existed around the world. In any areas around the world, when you go to different countries and different civilizations or different tribes, people used to worship many gods. Paganism was the religion around the world. You can find this in history books. In every culture, it was paganism, including Israel, the Middle East, Arabia, like everywhere around the world. All of these gods were called daemons, because demon, which is the Greek word for daemon, simply means divine entity or divine spirit, something that's spiritual, that's divine. The angels were called daemons, the demons were called daemons, and it seems like this league of gods, let's call them daemon, right? This league of gods, they all were some sort of empire, and they all had one boss on top of them, and that boss was what all the religions mention as God. If you read the religions of the world and you research them, you can see clearly that there was a huge war, there was a feud inside the empire between the daemon. And then that's where the story of Lucifer didn't agree with the word of God, and God banished Lucifer. Asmodeus apparently was the first to follow Lucifer outside of the house of God. As an example, think about the president of a country, and he has people that work for him, the ministers, and the ministers don't agree with each other. They don't agree with each other. One category, the angels, they agreed with the president, God, and another category, the demons, didn't agree with God, with the president. Therefore, there was this separation of the daemon. Of course, the winners always write history, so obviously these demons, this category that didn't agree with God, got the bad reputation over time. They got the bad reputation. They became the bad ones. They became the bad spirits. But this started with Judaism, the first monotheistic religion, the religion that states that there's only one God. That's when this separation between the daemons happened for the first time, and it became angels and demons. But before that, Beelzebul, Asmodeus, Archangel Michael, Raphael, all of the archangels, all of the demons were part of one league. They were all working together for the same dude, whoever that dude was. And my theory is that they were from outside of Earth. They were a race, a civilization that came to Earth to seed Earth, to continue life on Earth. And that's why they created us as well. So this is the story of the demons, their origin. Not to confuse things, because I see that nowadays most people, they go to the Lesser Key of Solomon, the Ars Goetia, and the other 5 books of the Lesser Key of Solomon, and that's what they base their information on. And they say Those are the demons. That's how they look like. That's the sigils. We don't know who wrote even these books. The authors are anonymous. We don't even know who wrote them. I'm not saying that these books are wrong. I myself like them, and I like to get information from them because they can help inspire and create new things and get information in general, because to remember who you are, you have to do your research, regardless of what book you're reading or where you hear it from, or you have to do your research. And the more research you do, the more you dig deeper, you can remember slowly but surely who you really are. So that's the story of the demons and where they're from and how they look like, as you can see from the Infernal Dictionary or from the Occult Tarot or the images you see online, like what you see on the screen right now. This is not how the demons looked like. This is just a French artist who drew them in 1863. So we have to know these things. We have to remember what we are working with. However, what's the difference between these demons or these beings, these entities that lived on Earth and they were separated eventually into angels and demons? What's the difference between them and the spirits that help you, that guide you, that are haunting your place, that live at your place? Because some people do invocations, and it's good to invoke the spirits of some entities that have existed. You can invoke the spirit even of the Buddha if you want, or of Jesus, or any person that have existed, or any of the demons of Solomon if you're certain of the name and the sigil and you're certain, then you can if you want. But what about the other entities? My demon guardian that I can summon or invoke at will, it's not always there. It's not always around me. I call it only when I need it in dire situations. All I have to do is invoke it and I can see it. I can see it manifest and it can help. And I can even use it against other malicious entities or malicious demons. For obvious reasons, I can't share the name of my demon with you, and I can't share the name or the shape or what it looks like. But I'm gonna tell you this one thing. This guardian demon of mine doesn't look like anything from the demons of Solomon, at least based off the illustrations. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that your own guardian demon doesn't mean it has to be one of the demons of Solomon like what most people think. It's okay if you want to invoke Beelzebul or Asmodeus or Baal or Lilith or Lucy. That's okay. That's not what I'm saying here, because a lot of people, they want to invoke these demons, these entities. They want to work with them. But I'm telling you, keep your mind open, keep your spirit open, because your true guardian demon can be something that only you will ever meet, that no one else can meet. And it can look very different. It can appear so differently from what these books describe. And it can have powers that these books have never described. So the goal here is to not put ourselves into boxes. These books are amazing. Go check them out if you can. I myself do, and I like them a lot. But you have to remember that meeting your own guardian demon doesn't mean that you're gonna find it in the Lesser Key of Solomon or in the Infernal Dictionary or in the Testament of Solomon or other books in the past. That's not where you're gonna find your own guardian demon. Your own guardian demon will show itself to you when it's the right time, and it might look very, very different. So a lot of things in history gets changed, gets twisted, a lot of misinformation, and you have to really dig deeper and deeper and check different books and different research to really figure out what was going on and how do we have these demons that everyone claimed to know nowadays. And that's why I made this video, because I've been wanting to share this information with everyone. I'm gonna pull one card, amazing card by the way. At the bottom we have the Three of Cups, so a lot of abundance, a lot of success coming very shortly. And one more card for everyone who's watching. And let me know in the comment section about any questions you have about demons, your guardian demons. What do you know about them? Your own, based on your own research. Again, beautiful card, Seven of Swords. 7 here. research. 7 is the number of the seeker in numerology. That means you have to seek, you have to remember who you are, you have to do your own research, you have to find out your own truth. I'm finding out my own truth, you have to find out yours. This is what the card is saying here. And this beautiful card is saying that once you declare to the universe that you want to find your own truth and you start doing your research, it's going to be very easy. You're going to be in alignment and the universe is going to help you and it's going to align everything you need in your path. I hope this information was helpful and I'll see you in the next video.